Gary Cassidy. Gary, go ahead.
Hi, Bobby. Thank you so much for taking the time. I was going to start with something else if I was not first up, but I feel like being first up, there's one thing I have to address. I know last time we spoke, you told me that you're not a fan of social media. You very rarely post on social media, but you took to Twitter last night to post a very powerful message regarding the Black Lives Matter movement. I want to ask, a lot of superstars have came out and shown their support, spread information, and even made donations. What do you feel the support has been like from your fellow superstars regarding the Black Lives Matter movement?
I think with our with the superstars, at least the ones that I'm more close with, or I think everybody across the board, we're on the same team right now. I don't think anybody is looking at our situation and saying anything negative towards it. Everybody's on the same team as far as wanting to see some kind of change, some kind of resolution, and some handshake. At the end of the day, we all want to get along. We all have a common goal of wanting to be happy. And if somebody doesn't feel that they're getting that happiness, then we need to find a way to make sure that happens. And I think everybody's on the same team and same thought process in that. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to be working towards the right direction. And I think that WWE is going to definitely show their side of the support that's needed across the board, and everybody else has shown support also. It's been awesome. I mean, there's some bad things, of course, going on, but we're more focusing on what's more important, and that's the resolution.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, man.
We're going to come to Nims next at SEN Radio in Australia.
Hey, Bobby, greetings from Australia. How are you going, brother?
Oh, fantastic.
I've got to ask you one thing. You visited Australia many times, and it might be a while before you can do it again, but the most notable had to be the time that you teamed up with John Cena at Super Showdown in front of more than 70,000 people at the MCG. It's a very, very long journey to go from where you are to where we are, but what is it for you that makes that long journey worthwhile? Is there any Aussie superstars that are currently in the locker room with you that you'd like to face one day, and what do you enjoy about our country?
Well, here, let me. You threw a lot in there. I think for me, and everybody asks this question, especially from WWE superstars, is like, where's your favorite place to go in the world? And since we've traveled everywhere, there's so many places that I have like fond memories, and there's some places that I just enjoy certain things about the culture. But I think for me, man, it's kind of like when I go to Australia, it's just like a feeling across the board. I like the Australian culture. I like the people. When we land there, it's just kind of like, to me, it's like being in the United States, but not being in the United States, almost like an opposite of it. And I think that the Australian fans, they're incredible because, we have some of the people that have come here, the Iconics, and there's so many more that guys that are coming up from Australia and everywhere else around the world. But I just think for us, it just gives us an opportunity to take our product and put it live, face-to-face with the crowd in different areas. So, of course, when we came to Australia, we were expecting a big crowd, and we were ready to put on a great show. The time has nothing to do with it, man, because all you got to do is get on a plane, watch a couple movies, take a nap, and then you're there. So it's the same thing as being here in States, but it's just a different vibe and a different attitude. I personally love Australia, so I want to put in a little extra effort. And then it was cool to actually work with John Cena. He and I had some bouts against each other, and then we did some things as tag teams over the years. And it's always cool to work with him because he's one of the greats of the business.
Appreciate you answering the question. I snuck a couple in there, so hopefully, Joel, you won't get too mad at me. But if I don't get to ask another one, best of luck against Drew at Backlash.
Thank you, man.
Everyone thank Nims for the last ever WWE call he's doing, so that's nice for him. Right, we're going to go to Saul next at Record in Latin America.
Hi, Bobby. I'm Saul Cano from Record from Mexico. Hi. There's a trend in your favor in Backlash. 3 of the last 4 WWE Championship challengers have been crowned champions at the end of the night. Do you trust that you will maintain this trend?
Do I believe that I'm going to gain the strength?
This trend, the trend. Three of the last four challengers have won the championship in Backlash in the last few events.
Wow, that's good to know. I can't break that trend, right? I think, man, you know what? Like, you know, regardless of what I've been doing in the ring and outside the ring, man, I'm excited about this, man. I'm excited about Backlash. I'm excited for several different reasons. I haven't had an opportunity at that title for 13 years. Okay, so if there's somebody that deserves it, I'm gonna throw my hat in there and I'm gonna say I damn sure deserve it. I've been there, done that, and I mean, at the end of the day, when we take off those gloves and start swinging in Backlash, because that's what Drew's about, and that's damn sure what I'm about. When we start doing that, then big things are gonna happen, and I think I should be able to come out victorious, and that's what makes me even more exciting. No. Okay. So I am excited about it. But I got to tweet that, man. I didn't know that actually was the deal, but I'm excited.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
We are going to come next to Alistair McGeorge at Metro.
Hi, Bobby. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Good to hear it. I want to chat a bit about you and Drew have a lot of history together, not just in WWE, but also the time and impact that you had together. How valuable do you think it was for you to have that time away from WWE and sort of have time to grow as performers before making returns?
I think he and I both kind of follow kind of the same path a little bit when it goes to that. And you know what? The cool thing about it is last year, Drew and I actually ran this tag team for a long time with Corbin. And I remember one thing that was always said about that tag team. He was like, man, we put those two together, they are vicious. Because Drew brings out something in me and I bring out something in him that not everybody can bring out in an opponent. And it turns rough. It turns into a fight. But I think the time away gave us an opportunity to kind of find ourselves a little bit more. And time and impact, time, you know, in some of the indie promotions that we both worked, we had an opportunity to kind of explore. And then, man, it made us appreciate it. So right now, that match is big because he talks about how the locker room has changed and how he wants to make a change and how he has to show people that they should appreciate being there. Well, I'm in the same boat, but I'm in kind of a different boat than he is because I was here for a long time. I wasn't the chosen one. I was never the chosen one, okay? So I had to scrape and claw to get up here. So I think the history that we have is going to be kind of like butting heads because we kind of rolled in the same path, but one person was already granted a position. The other person had to work his ass off to get there. So we have a lot of meaning to this match.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah.
We're going to come next to Luis Ramirez.
Hello, Lashley. How are you?
Fantastic, man.
The question is more about your career. 2 years ago, you returned to the company after a first season a few years ago. How different has been this second season for you in the company if you compare with the first time in WWE?
Oh, it's. I think it's quite a bit different. I think the crowds are different. I think the style is different. I think the atmosphere different. I think it's completely different, but everything evolves, man, and that's what we have to understand. Everything evolves. Is it bad now? Is it bad then? No. Both eras were had its time and had its place. I mean, it's professional wrestling. The time that I had before was a little rougher style. The time before, it would have been hard not to have the WWE Championship or the Universal title for somebody like myself. Times have changed. Social media is a big thing now. The locker room's different. How people interact is different. Everything's different. But I'm not saying it's different from the bad. I think it's just different.
Thanks.
We will come next to Daniel Marland at Sport Bible.
Hi, Lashley. You all right?
Yeah, man.
I just wanted to ask you, obviously, you're a big MMA fan yourself. I just wanted to get your feelings on the current Dana White and John Jones situation. Obviously, you might be retiring, vacating the belt. Just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
That's a discussion that we can sit down and talk about for hours. But listen, this is how I feel. Is that it's a company versus the fighter. When you watch UFC, they try to make it about UFC. It's UFC, so and so and so, and the fight card is this. Boxing, it's Floyd Mayweather's fight or Triple G's fight. You know, it's somebody's fight card, and they get paid an astronomical amount. And when you compare boxing to MMA, some of the fighters get a little frustrated. And somebody like a John Jones, I mean, he should be making at least somewhere in the ballpark of like other combat boxers. So I don't know what kind of pay he's making, but if he has a problem with it, then I think it needs to be addressed. And I think that I think Dana White should take care of the fighters more, because I've heard from so many different fighters that have talked about how much they make compared to how much the UFC is taking from it, because the fighters are putting in the work. They're putting their asses on the line. They're putting their lives on the line, getting in that cage. So they need to be compensated. And I think John Jones was looking at a fight with him and Zingano. And if he's looking for that fight, and if he's agreeing to sign the paperwork on that fight, that's going to be astronomical numbers. And if it's astronomical numbers, he should be paid accordingly. And that's all. I mean, that's a huge fight. And I think he has a lot to put on the line with getting in there fighting Francis, because Francis showed what he can do. And he's going to be a bigger and extremely dangerous fighter. And I think it's going to do incredible numbers. So pay the man, because we want to see the fight.
We will next go to Vicente over at Marca.
Hello from Spain, Bobby. How are you?
Fantastic, man.
Thank you for your time. First of all, as usual, I was this morning was surprised as I was reading a little bit about your history, and I found out that you've never wrestled The Undertaker, you've never wrestled Brock Lesnar, obviously, Edge, or even Sting. Well, we know Sting is retired right now, but if you could pick one of these legends, who would be and why for one more match?
Oh, man. If you ever have an opportunity to wrestle The Undertaker and say no, you are out of your friggin' mind. So there's no way that I would not say Undertaker. But then, of course, the Brock match has just been something that has been talked about since the day that I came into wrestling. So that I know that's always a match that the fans want. And I think for me, that's a match that I kind of want too. You know what? Brock has been at the top of the business for so long. To have us clash, I think the fans would be really interested in that one.
Thank you.
We'll next go to Gabriel Cruz at Graphico.
Thank you. Bobby, a fighter with your experience, how do you handle the fight between Lana and MVP around you? Do you see your advantage? Do you enjoy it? And how much can the battle influence Backlash?
Okay. I think you asked what I think about the feud between Lana and MVP. Is that correct? Can you repeat the question?
Okay. How do you handle the fight between Lana and MVP around you? The last Monday, Lana hit to MVP. How do you handle? How do you manage?
Okay. Well, first of all, I know hitting MVP was not the smartest thing that she could have done. It's not. But MVP's a man, and he's not going to put his hands on a woman. So, and MVP is not. What you got to understand is MVP is not a manager. MVP is a wrestler. I've wrestled with MVP. and I've done a lot of things with MVP. So Lana's a woman. Lana's a gorgeous woman, and the fact that he hit her, it's not really going to hurt him. It was more to disrespect him. And MVP's okay, and I think he can move past that. But as far as how I'm going to handle the two of them, it's like any guy would handle it. Like, think about it. Your girlfriend or your wife doesn't get along with your best friend or one of your friends. That happens every single day. What you try to do is just try to stay out of it. I try to stay out of it because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is going to happen. And don't really know what that is. They don't have to be around each other. Lana can stay her direction and he can stay his. And we can still be happy together. So that's ultimately what I like to see happen, is everybody just get along so we can win the title.
Thank you.
We will next go to Vineet over at News 18 in India.
Hi, Bobby. How are you?
How you doing?
All good, all good. So my question is regarding Drew McIntyre. You have worked with him, not just in WWE, as previous guys have already talked about. I just want to know how well you work with him, because both of your styles are same. They pretty much similar. Both are explosive and agile as well. So how is it working with somebody like Drew McIntyre, and how excited are you, to be in a title picture with McIntyre, working with him?
Oh, I'm super excited about being in the title picture, but something like that is something that that I enjoy. Man, you know what? Styles make matchups, and we have all kinds of different styles that we give to our fans. The style that me and Drew have could be a mixture of almost everything, and it can be that really, 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 really strong style, because ultimately that's what's going to happen when you get us in there. So I am excited about it because I love to train. I love to fight. I've been in a 2-a-day training program for the last week, so I am getting in the greatest shape of my doggone life. I don't care if we do this fight in a cage, outside on the streets, in a ring. It doesn't matter. The one thing I'm going to know for sure is that I'm going to be ready for this damn thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Bobby.
With pleasure.
We will come next to Stephanie Chase at Digital Spy.
Hi, Bobby. So do you feel like that your Rusev storyline got a proper conclusion, and did you have any ideas for how you wanted it to end?
No, I don't. I don't think it had a proper conclusion. I think there was so much that we could do. We had a full head of steam. I mean, people wanted Rusev to rip my arms off and beat me with him. He was. I think that we were at the point where, I don't know. I really don't know what happened, to tell you the truth, because I think that we were at the point where the revenge needed to happen, and it didn't. And I don't know where we could have went or where we were going to go with it. So I just wish that I could have had the match that I wanted to have with Rusev, because I've seen him in some great matches, and I think I could have had one with him.
We'll come to Elva for the penultimate question. Elva at Columna Sera.
Hi, Bobby.
Yo, hello.
How do you see Drew McIntyre as an opponent?
Well, first of all, I think Drew McIntyre is probably one of the he's going to be regarded as one of the greatest WWE champions in history. I'm going to tell you that right now. But question for you. If I just went in that ring at Backlash, double leg Drew down to the ground, and then just ground and pound and beated him until he couldn't try to do anything but get away, and then I lashed him this full Nelson and I submitted him, would that surprise you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's really big.
Because he's really big?
Yeah.
So because he's big, it would surprise you that I could beat him up.
He's really, really strong and powerful, but as you are. So you both are really similar. So
I feel like I put you on the spot there. Okay, this is what I'm trying to tell you, and I'm trying to tell everybody else. It would not surprise you, and it would not surprise anybody if we took the gloves off in WWE and let everybody start swinging away. If I went through and I started smashing all these guys in the roster, would it surprise you? No, it would not. And that's the same thing that people need to understand at Backlash. It's the same damn way. I can go in there if I wanted to, if I was able to, if they took the gloves off of me, and I could double leg him down to the ground and pound him out until he could only do nothing but try to get away. And then when he got away, I locked into that full Nelson, and he can't get out.
Thank you so much.
It shouldn't surprise you.
No.
We are going to come to our final question because I think everyone's terrified now. We're going to come to our final question. We're going to go to Ash Rose at WWE Kids.
Hi, Bobby. Finally, question for you then. You mentioned MVP there. I just want to ask you about his return to WWE. How has it been for you to see him back? What has he brought to you, to your act on WWE television? Because I think together you've been brilliant. What's it been for you like to have MVP back?
It's been great. You know, MVP was a good friend of mine before, and then we worked for a long time, and we've always been friends for a long time. He came to watch me a couple of my fights. You know, I've kept up with his jiu-jitsu career, and I think another cool thing about him, how our careers kind of molded, is that we both have kids now. Before, when we first started out, I just had my daughter. I was about to have my daughter, and he didn't have any kids, so it was a whole different lifestyle. Now, as we come back, a lot of the things are the same with me, is that we talk about how we want to make it to a certain point so that our son can see us, and my daughters can see me do that. So it's kind of cool being in that limelight, to be able to come back and do something that, one, we love, and something that we have so much history in, that we left 10, 12, 13 years ago, and then we're back doing it again and at the highest level. I mean, it's awesome. We're both kind of living our dream, and we're going to do whatever it takes to achieve the things that we want to achieve.
Good stuff. Good luck at Backlash. Cheers, Bobby.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bobby, I would ask you a quick question myself, which I think everyone will want to know as well. I think a lot of people have been talking about you and Drew potentially could be the greatest fight ever at Backlash, but we also have Edge versus Randy Orton to look forward to, which is being spoken about as potentially the greatest wrestling match ever. What do you think it's going to take for Edge and Randy Orton to put on the greatest wrestling match ever?
All they got to do is do what they do. All they got to do is do what they do. I know both of those guys. Yeah, they're smooth as butter. Randy's smooth as butter. But as far as like knowing wrestling, knowing the psychology of wrestling, knowing how to have a great match and everything like that, you know what? When you give somebody that that label before they're able to even go in there, I think that those guys are willing to. I'm sure those guys weren't just like, oh man, the poster says this is going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. I'm sure Randy probably said, you know what, if I have Edge, it will be the greatest wrestling match ever, and you can put that on the poster. So they're willing to accept the challenge, and I think that they will deliver.
Well, that is certainly something for us all to look forward to. Bobby, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as well. And you can, of course, we've spoken about it, you can, of course, see Bobby look to take that WWE Championship away from Drew McIntyre at Backlash a week from Sunday. So we very much look forward to hearing from you. There we go. You all got a sneak preview. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will speak to you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.